gaze, overwhelmed, trapped in a maze. Small business owner, stress had me in a daze. Every problem piled up, couldn't catch a break. Thought I couldn't make it, my dreams were at stake. But then I found a group that changed my whole perspective. Our success group of a community so effective. We all chasing that dream, sharing struggles and fears. They understood my journey, wiped away my tears. Together we broke through, we rise above. No more feeling stuck, we're fueled by love. Our small business is shining, reaching new heights. With the support of our success group, we're taking flight. The power is strong, the vision's so clear. Building our dreams with no more fear. Together we're resilient, unstoppable force. With our success group.
Let's talk some business.
All right. Welcome into Small Business Saturdays. Sorry, I was trying to get my wife's attention there in the private chat, but anyhow.
I have it covered up. Sorry.
Welcome in, Small Business Rockstars. Welcome into Small Business Saturday. I'm Aaron. This is my amazing wife, Kylene. And today we're going to talk about something that I close almost every Small Business Saturday with, this idea that action beats inaction every time. Right. So this is a topic that I think is near and dear to both of us, Kylene. Well,
Oh yeah.
You know, right. Obviously, this is outside of business planning. I think this is probably the biggest flag that I carry is how do we take more action? How do we do the same things that we say we're going to do? And so I'm excited to talk about this, but I want to get right into the meat of this because, well, I'm gonna be honest. I'm on fire right now. I am super stoked. I just got off of a workshop call with 3 amazing action takers. We built a roadmap for their marketing, and look out, world, here they come. So
that's awesome. Congrats to those that showed up. That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. So it was incredible. And so more to come on that. If you were somebody that went to the webinar, I'll probably pop it in the Facebook group too. The demand has been, hey, we're interested, just couldn't make Saturday morning happen. Totally understand. So we're going to have another session on Tuesday, but stay tuned on that. We're not going to spend a bunch of time telling you about that right now. But yeah, so on fire, want to take some action, want to get right to it. And but Kylene, what's your intention for people today?
I just want people to share with people that it's not too late to achieve your goals here at the end of the year. You know, with some of these things we're going to share, hopefully that inspires you just to keep going and keep working hard.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
how about you, Aaron?
Okay. All right. Yeah. We're catching up here. We got to get, let's pick up the pace. All right. We ready?
I got to keep up with you. You're on fire.
I am on fire a little bit, so I apologize for that. But no, I first off, thank you guys for being here. I don't want to mispronounce the name, but Lisa is all I can come up with. Am I missing that, Kylene? Oh,
Lisa. I think it's Lissa.
Lissa, I apologize. Lissa or Lisa, I love it. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hello from PA. And then we've got Barb checking in from North Central Minnesota. And I think you're actually absolutely right. I think it is Lissa now that I, so who was right? Me to start or Kylene, actually? And we know that Kylene was probably right. So let's just be real here.
Yay. I'm just kidding.
All right. Thank you for being here. Speaking of being here, do us a favor, just share this real quick. Let's get some more people in here. Let's get some more perspective going on what it means to take action, the fact that action beats inaction every time. So my intention for folks, Kylene, is to understand that exact thing, right? When in doubt, take a step. Right. My friend Eric Campbell shared this with me, and I'm sure he grabbed it from somewhere else, but I'm going to just give him credit for it. He says this quite frequently, actually, is you can't steer a parked car. And so when my car is sitting there parked, I can turn the wheel all I want. It's not moving, right? Yeah. It's not until we're moving in a forward direction or in a backwards direction some movement, action of some sort is the only time that then we can make adjustments. We can turn the wheel. And so that's really my intention. And so let's get right into this, Kylene. Let's talk about the mindset of it first. And for you guys that are familiar and have tuned in before, you understand that typically, not every time, but typically we try to break this into 3 categories because we want to look at business owners as a holistic person, not this siloed thing, but this holistic person. And so we understand that for us to accomplish anything, achieve anything, move ourselves forward, we really need to come at it from 3 distinct angles. We have to get the mindset right. We have to understand the plan. We have to have the fundamentals. What is the practical application? But then from a spiritual, maybe that's a way to describe it. Like, because we talk about wellness, and maybe it's just me, but I always go wellness. Yeah, I got to work out, or I got to, do yoga or whatever. But that's not what we're talking about with wellness. Before we get into that, just I think wellness. Can you maybe help me explain that better, Kylene?
Sure. It's looking at you as a whole person. So we don't just have our business to worry about, right? We have so many different areas of our life that's important to us that makes it meaningful. So it's really looking at all those different areas in your life. Like Aaron was saying, it can be the actual moving your body and diet, but it's also your spiritual health. It's your financial health. It's your, all of those things, your relationships with people. It's all of those things. And that's what we're kind of looking at with wellness.
Yeah, for sure. So again, we try to break down these things that we want to discuss that we feel are useful and they've been helpful for us. And we want to share that in a way that you guys can, again, get all 3 of those kind of pillars, so to speak.
Yep.
And it's not always mindset, fundamentals, and wellness, but a lot of times it does tend to kind of go that way, right? So you got to kind of get the head right. You got to figure out what the practical application is, and then you got to be able to maintain that, you achieve it, celebrate it, those types of things.
Yeah.
So we are going to start off with mindset today. And I think the biggest mindset is this notion of action beating inaction every time. Because a lot of times we're just so stuck that we don't even know what action to take.
Yeah.
And our common mindset is to, well, I just need to think about it more. Let me think more. Let me think more. We just went through this 3-hour workshop where we broke down the roadmap to having a marketing plan for the next 8 weeks or the last 8 weeks of the year. But we started with some areas where we really needed to identify who our ideal customers were. We really needed to understand why we do what we do, kind of get to our strengths, values, and passions. And those were some deep things that we had to go at. And so we had exercises that we were doing. And, I asked them some pretty hard questions. And then I said, okay, you've got 1 minute, start writing. And, I knew I could feel a little bit of that tension of like, what? Hold on, I need to think about this some more. But really it was, I want you to take action and just let what shows up show up. Right. And so this overthinking actually leads to inaction, which then leads to feeling more stuck, which then leads into not achieving the results, more pressure, more anxiety, more stress. So we're both been known a time or two to overthink a few things. How has that served us, Kylene?
It's kept us exactly where we were. When we're stuck and we overanalyze and we think it has to be perfect, we don't move forward because we're looking at all the different possibilities. But really, if we just do something, learn from it, and then adjust as needed and then keep moving forward, we're that much closer to figuring it out instead of just staying and thinking it has to be perfect before we even take the first step.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect. Okay. The next part of this, so the uncommon mindset is stop overthinking it, go with your gut.
Yep.
Right? Go with your instinct, go with your, what other words could we use to gut, instinct, intuition?
Go with this. Yeah, what feels natural in that moment. Just
the flow. Yeah, there we go. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the first part of it. If we can let go of that and just stop overthinking things, or understand that that's an intention. There you go. That's me. It's not perfect. Exactly. Okay. So that's number one in the mindset here. Here's the second part that I think gets us is this idea of decision fatigue.
Yeah.
Now, maybe we're unique, Kylene, but I don't think that we're completely unique in this. So is anybody else out there get to the end of your day and go, I don't know what's for dinner, and I don't care what's for dinner. I just am hungry and I need food, right? The determining what's for dinner conundrum. Does anybody else have that? Kylene, what do you think? You think anybody else has that?
I'm guessing yes. I'm pretty sure we're not alone with this one, but
Okay. Yes. All right. So Lissa says yes. All right. Here's what's going on. All right, we've got decision fatigue, and we just have, think about this throughout the course of your day. How many decisions do you have to make? Heck, even as a kid, we can get decision fatigue, but as adults, it's even crazier. Okay. I got to wake up. What am I going to do first? Am I going to go to the gym? Am I going to go for that walk? Am I going to do the yoga? Am I going to do the prayer meditation? I'm going to make those decisions. Okay. I'm getting in the shower. What temperature? Is that the good temperature? Is that not good temperature? Okay. What clothes do I need to put on? What clothes am I going to wear today? All right. What am I going to pack for lunch if I've got to go to work? Or what route am I going to take to work? I mean, I'm just through the first 15 minutes of my morning, potentially. Lisa says, at the end of my day, trying to make decisions, I feel indecisive, right? So the idea here is, how can we, two different angles to this, actually, Kylene. How can we, reduce the number of decisions that we have to make? And then B, how can we make decisions more quickly and confidently? And so which one of those do you want to address first?
Well, I think both of them kind of come back to the clarity part of it.
Yeah.
What you just did, as people move into their busy season here.
Okay. All right. So
clarity
is where you want to, clarity is where you want to start. Okay. Well, clarity just means, do you know who you are, what you value, and then are you confident enough to make a decision, even if it's unpopular or maybe goes against the other right? Kylene and I go, well, what do you want for dinner? I don't know. I don't care. What do you want for dinner? And then, Kylene will say, oh, let's do this. And I'll go, nah, I'm not really feeling it. Like, wait a second. You just said you didn't care. Right. And so, I needed to have more clarity and confidence. If I didn't really want that, then I did actually care. I just didn't hold true to what was real for me. Right. And so I have to be willing to say that. But that's just the dinner idea. This can work for every decision that we make. What are your values? Stick with that and live with the consequences. Right. So having clarity, but that clarity takes time to develop and understand what it is that you value and being okay with what those decisions are. So is there anything that you can share, Kylene, from that clarity perspective that maybe people could use to help with that?
Well, I mean, I think it's when you know what's important to you and why you do what you do, it's easier to sometimes make those decisions that are in line with that reason, if you will. Versus being kind of all scattered, and then you get tired, and then that decision fatigue again shows up, and then you go backwards again.
Yep.
So you get stuck.
Yep. And Lissa says, it's just too much. I find myself being indecisive, and then add in business decisions on top of that. Right. Barb, I'm going to come back to your comment in just one second, because this is exactly where you're what you're saying is exactly where we're heading with this. So yeah, getting that clarity, I think, is really important. Okay, let's run with this for one moment.
Okay.
So my thing with business is I do it, and then I look at other people and say, well, they're doing it. Why would people buy from me? So I'm very indecisive.
Oh,
you want to take that one first? Or you want me to?
Yeah. How does it go? Comparison is the thief of joy.
Yeah.
And just not having that trust and belief in yourself that what you're doing is so unique, that
Yep.
we can get stuck and go down that rabbit hole. We can learn from other people, right?
Yep.
Maybe be inspired. But you're still unique, and no matter
Yep.
what, your business is going to be different than someone else's.
Yep. Yeah. I always tell the story in my workshops or seminars that I do of, okay, let's say somebody buys an identical building. We're just going to use a storefront as an example because I think we can identify that even if you don't have a storefront. Okay. So just work with me. Put yourself in the shoes. Let's imagine here. You've got a storefront, you've got a business, and let's say somehow there's an identical building right next door to you, and they come in and they put a business in there and they do the exact same thing that you do. They have all the exact same equipment. They have all, like, it looks like a carbon copy just sat down next to you. Each of those two businesses is still completely different. And because there's one thing that they can't carbon copy. Kylene, any ideas what that is?
It's you.
Yes, it's you. Right. And so listen, what I would say is take it one step further here, right? You even have a question in your comment here that I think will really serve you well. I say, well, they're doing it. Why would people buy from me? So I'm very indecisive. Just let go of all the rest of it and say, why would people buy from me? And answer that question. Because there's absolutely a reason that people would buy from you. And it is who you are. It's your uniqueness. It's your strengths, your values, your passions. And in fact, we just spent of the three, we ended up being about 3.5, 4 hours together. But of the 3 hours that we had in that workshop, we spent 1 hour and 20 minutes of that answering that very question, because it's so crucial. The rest of our marketing doesn't matter until we understand the answer to that question. Why would people buy from me?
Yeah.
And you might go, I don't know. There is no reason. Absolutely not true. That's just the story you're telling yourself right now. So it's worth spending extra time answering that question, working with people. I do a strengths, values, passion assessment that might be really, really helpful for you. And it's just something I do for free for people because I find so much value for people in it. And it was so valuable to me. And so if you can really understand your strengths, values, and passions and then align your business with that, I think it's going to be a big leg up for you. So reach out to me, or I'll put the link in here a little bit later, but I want to keep moving us forward here. So thank you for sharing that. All right. Yep. Hello, my Saturday people. Thank you. Okay, perfect. So we covered the first side, clarity, Kylene, right?
Yeah.
Now I mentioned I was going to put a pin in Barb's comment, but let's go back to that now, because let's get the other side. How do you reduce the number of decisions or unnecessary choices, right? So here's a strategy. If the meal thing, I do meal prep on Sundays for the week, mainly to have fairly nutritional meals because I live alone. Otherwise, they become a snackaholic. Okay. But you've now reduced that choice of, all the snacks that are in there, Kylene and I talk about this all the time, and we've yet to kind of come to a conclusion. I have my opinion, and Kylene has her opinion. I have zero willpower. Zero. Right? You know where I'm heading with this, right, Kylene?
Maybe.
I'm glad we're in two different rooms, but I have zero willpower. So when Kylene buys the cookies from the grocery store, it doesn't matter how much I tell myself I'm going to eat healthy. I am going to eat those cookies, and probably too many of them in one sitting. Right? So how do I make a decision to eat better? Don't put the cookies don't put the cookies in the house, right? Now, if Kylene wants the cookies, that's fine. But for me, I can't have them in the house, right? So that's a way to make this decision, right? And again, we're talking about business here, but these all things work together. So if one of the decisions you make in the morning is what clothes are you going to wear, and that becomes a challenging decision that now you've taken most of your energy that you have for other decisions along the day away by just that part alone. Well, create a system. Mark Zuckerberg has his uniform for that very reason. He had other decisions that were more important to him than what he was going to wear. So he decided to have all the same clothes and wear the exact same thing all the time.
Yeah.
Right. For me,
Mhm.
I stack clothes in a certain way, and whatever's at the front of the stack, that's what I wear that day. And then I just keep cycling it through. Right. I do the same thing for socks. I do the same thing for, just like that way I don't have to like worry about what I'm going to wear. The biggest decision I have to make is, am I wearing a polo shirt or am I wearing a t-shirt?
I do like that.
And I decorate all of my clothes. So I'm always like, hey, I don't have to make a decision.
Yeah.
Right. There's no decision for me to make here.
Mhm.
So what are some of the other things that you're making decisions about throughout the day? Here's the other side of this, Kylene. When we say, okay, I'm going to start doing something in my business, right? I want to be more intentional. Maybe I'm going to utilize one of the things we do in the Masters of Success. I'm going to be more intentional about checking in with the rest of the group. That way I keep myself on track to achieving my goals.
Mhm.
And I'm going to do that 3 times a week. And I go, oh, awesome. Great job. You're being more intentional. And then I think to myself, and sometimes I say out loud, I go, which days are those 3 days going to be? There's 7 days in the week. So what happens when you get to day 5 and you haven't done it yet? Just give up, right? But you've had to make that decision every day. Is today the day I'm going to check in? So if you need to do something in your business, why not commit to it 100%? Because then you take away that decision. Okay, I don't have to decide, because guess what? Today is the day that I check in. There is no, right? So same thing like going to the gym, or I need to make one reach out to a new potential customers. I need to reach out to existing customers. I need to do product development, right? Try to find things. So go ahead, Kylene. I've been talking too much. Go.
That's all right. You're on fire. I'm just letting you go. It's all good stuff. But I mean, it's just developing a habit where you're not even conscious about what you're doing. And it's slowly implementing that into your routine, and then putting the reminders around to get you to create that routine and habit in your life. It's kind of like brushing your teeth. We just kind of do it every morning and we don't really think about it. It's just what we do, right?
Yeah,
and so you can do the same thing with your business, with the most important thing, like you said, the one reach out every day, or whatever it might be for you. It's just what you do. The first thing you do a reach out, and then it just becomes kind of that mindless thing, where that decision's been done for you, and you have that natural, you just naturally go towards it because it's a habit that you've created.
Yeah. Yep.
A routine.
Exactly right. Absolutely. And I think that it really, like I said, ties back into what I mentioned, that it just commit to it fully.
Yep.
It's way easier. We think that we need to, oh, well, I'm not sure. Okay.
Yeah.
It's not like if I say I'm going to check in 7 days a week and I do 5, well, guess what? That's still better than 3 or none. Right. So, okay. Now, why was it that I didn't check in those other 2 days? Oh, well, my schedule, I open my emails first. Okay. Well, then I can change that. That's information I can use. Yeah. But when it was, I just couldn't decide to do it that day. Right. Now we've, man, you've just really put a lot on yourself that you don't need to put on yourself. Right. Yeah. So it's actually easier to commit more, because then you take a decision away. So which is
hard, because some people don't want to commit, which this is something that I've struggled with in the past, because then I'm holding myself accountable and I don't want to fail. Right. I leave myself that out sometimes, but really what I'm doing is creating way more decisions and pressure.
Yeah. Yeah. And so your better decision would be to say, I'm 100% committed to not doing it.
Yep.
But when you do that, though, what happens is then your brain goes, oh, well, that's not actually what I want. So if those are the only 2 decisions, now that's a lot easier, right? It is yes or no, as opposed to a lot of trying to figure out the gray area, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So the other thing in mindset here is we're going to understand that going back to the idea of you can't steer a parked car, is the momentum is also very true and very important to understand, right? And so and listen, and Barb are talking about some things in the comments that I want to come back to here, because these are really good decision stuff, but I put a pin in those, I put a star in those, so we'll come back to them here. But this power of momentum is also really important to us. And this comes from my own personal story that I still work on a little bit, but I'm getting better with, is a lot of times I'll make a decision, or I'll decide, okay, right? Like we'll use going to the gym again, because I think it doesn't matter where you're at. Some of us can resonate with that a little bit more. And my idea always was, okay, well, I'm committed to going to the gym. I'm going to go all in. And, then I go do something, right? Last Thursday night, I played 6 volleyball games in a row, and I hadn't played a whole lot recently. And that was, so I went all in. Well, I could have played volleyball last night again and started building more of this habit up. But I'll be honest with you, I was sore. I had an opportunity and I went, man, my knees hurt a little bit. I don't want to overdo it here. Right. So when we start looking at this momentum, so maybe the thing to do is, how can I just make a small action? Right. And so maybe, with that commitment that you need to make, that's 100% commitment. Maybe it's not saying I'm going to figure out how to leave myself an out, but I'm going to figure out what's the entry point that is small.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And so go ahead.
Yeah. I was just going to say, one of the tools that we've used is, how can I take 5% more responsibility for this in our life? So what's, one thing that you could do that's believable and achievable that you can just continue to build upon, and you're not gonna fade away because it feels too big. Yep, for sure. Yep.
So just from the mindset side, let's just kind of cover these things, because I do love the conversation that we've got going on in the chat here too. So if you guys are okay with us kind of falling off, again, we show up with what we want to talk about, we think we want to talk about. But honestly, the best thing that happens is when you guys get involved in the conversation and we can head that way. So, and it all ties together. But let me just kind of recap the mindset thing real quick here. So overthinking it leads to inaction. So make sure that we don't overthink it. Go with your gut. If you're going to give yourself a week to make the decision, then guess what? You're going to take a week to make the decision. But if you give yourself immediately, Kylene, there's that little quote that happens to be on a sheet in front of you that's been laminated. Do you think you might be willing? Yeah, could you read that for us?
You bet. Okay. Don't leave anything for later. Later, the coffee gets cold. Later, you lose interest. Later, the day turns into night. Later, people grow up. Later, people grow old. Later, life goes by. Later, you regret not doing something when you had the chance.
There you go.
Yeah.
Now, I understand that that's a deep thought, but that also plays out in a practical, immediate action, right? You get an inspiration, you need to do something. Could you say, yeah, I'll get to that later? Sure. Is that really going to serve you? If it's something that you can do like that, if you've read a book to read that I think is really important for us when we start thinking about action, is called Getting Things Done by David Allen. I think that's what the title is. David Allen. And I'm pretty sure it's Getting Things Done. I'll look it up if I've got that wrong and put it in the comments there. But one of the ideas he talks about in there is the fact that when something comes, when you've got a project or a task that you need to do, if you can complete that in less than, I think he says 5 minutes or something like that, complete it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, then if not, then make sure you get it onto your list and have a system to be able to understand what needs to be prioritized. Right. But a lot of times it's just like, oh yeah, I got to do that thing. And then it gets on a list somewhere and then oh shoot, I forgot about it, and it didn't. Then I end up doing it half reared, half.
Weird.
You know what I'm trying to say. So inaction, right? And that overthinking. Okay, so that's number one. Number two was this idea of decision fatigue. How can we increase the decisions that are important and make those better? And that's going to lead us to get into what Lisa and Barb were talking about.
Yeah.
But finally, that power of momentum. You can't steer a parked car, right? So let's go back up here. All right. So Lisa says, so my decision is I started out with sublimation. However, everybody doesn't want white shirts. And now I'm thinking about DTF because it's easier and faster and you can put it on all colors. However, now I see embroidery is profitable. So I want to start embroidery, but I love lasering. So now I bought a laser. Lisa, you are amazing and perfect in every way. You're just a person after my own heart. The toys, yes, please. I want a laser. I want embroidery. Maybe not embroidery. I don't like needles, so there's a thing there. But DTF, absolutely. DTG, sublimation. What else? What else have I wanted? Oh, I bought Kylene a sewing machine. What other silly toys have I bought?
There's a lot downstairs.
Yeah. we don't need to spill all my dirty laundry. But then Barb shared, I ordered DTF gang sheets for large orders as faster than printing them all on my DTF printer. It saves so much time. Then I can just press. Absolutely. And then that is true, Barb. However, I find prices are too high. And then I say, what if I buy my own machine and I can print however many, right? Then it cuts into my cost. So where's my profit? Barb, do you see a profit? Awesome. I love this. And this is what decision making is all about, gathering the information. We don't want to overthink it, but yeah, let's get out there. Let's ask questions. Let's talk about it. Okay. So I want to go a couple ways with this, Kylene.
Yeah.
And again, you're just letting me be on fire. So I appreciate that. All of those things that you said are 100%, right? Love lasering. I love that. Little less profit. So two things. First off, you need to understand what profit means to you first and foremost, right? So if I'm just saying, okay, here's my cost and here's how much the gang sheet cost me, et cetera, et cetera. Part of profit calculation is understanding your time. The most precious resource that we have as humans is time, because every single person has the exact same 24 hours in a day. We can't manufacture more. Once this moment is gone, it's gone, right? And we don't know how long we're going to be here. So there's a lot of factors that go into time that makes it way more valuable than anything else that's out there. Now, monetary profit is also important. It's what keeps our business alive. But you can always generate more profit. You can always build up to it. You can always build a market. So I think Barb's idea here is great because, okay, yes, could I print my own? Could I go buy the machine? Absolutely. But what happens when you bought every machine, but you don't have time to run any of them? Right? How much did that extra profit on that machine really bring you? Because when you've got a machine that sits in the corner and doesn't do anything, it's not making you any profit. But when you can buy a gang sheet from somebody and press and print, every time that heat press opens up, you're printing money. Right? So that's the first part of this. This is just think about it from that side. Make sure that you bring in that perspective of what's your time worth to you. Right? To be honest with you, if I were to start a decorating business today, I wouldn't buy a single piece of equipment. All my friends that sell equipment are probably throwing stuff at me right now, but that is the truth. And to be honest with you, and most of my friends that sell equipment are honest people that want you to succeed. In fact, all of my friends that sell equipment are honest people that want you to succeed. So they would probably tell you that same thing. But they're also going to say, hey, once you build that market, though, my machine's going to take care of you, which is absolutely true. Right? So I would say build the market, right? So the sublimation, you got the sublimation, but not everybody wants white shirts. Okay. So can you build a different market for your sublimation machine? Maybe. But you've said, hey, DTF might be the way to go. Well, let me farm that out until I can build enough of a market. Because the next question or thing that people have to make a decision about is, when should I buy the piece of equipment? When should I upgrade? When should I add that new fun tool, whatever, right? Some days it's a toy, some days it's a tool. And that I get that question a lot. Like, when should I make that decision? And my answer is always when your business will pay for it. Yep. Not when your personal pocketbook, not when your credit card, when your business can afford to buy that and it makes sense for your business. Mm-hmm. Now, I get that's not always the way that it happens, right? I've financed stuff, we've done it, but ultimately that's what we should be shooting for, is that's the time we should buy it.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the first side. Go ahead, Kylene.
Oh, I was just going to say, and if you're not looking at it that way and you're just buying it, you're just created more stress for yourself and decision fatigue, because now you have the pressure of becoming the expert to run that machine, but then you also have to be the expert to build that market at the same time. Yep. It's a lot of pressure.
Yep. Okay.
Yep.
Love it. And Barb showed, there's a profit. Figure your time in printing, adding cost of printing, 20 inches by 60 inches, gang sheet, 40 cents, 0.24 items on a gang, or 24 items on a gang sheet, cost $166 per design. We'll make it $1.75, including shipping. So that's the cost, right? $1.75. Okay. So that leads us to the second point that I'd love to make here. If you can't make a profit by outsourcing, another thing to look at could be, are you charging enough? Right? I'm pretty sure maybe there are some people and they've gotten over whatever is holding us back, but I would say most of us do not charge what we're worth. Is that true, Kylene? You feel like that might be true?
100% I do. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's not to say that, you got to go change your prices or you're a bad business owner or anything like that. None of that. What I'm saying is, are you willing to look and say, are my prices right? So I did a pricing seminar in Indianapolis, and I do it at all the Graphics Pro shows. I'm going to be doing it at Charlotte on November 9th. And one of the big things we talk about in there is, most of the time we go out and price our products based on what's going to make our buyers happy, right? Well, I don't know. I don't think they'll pay that much, right? The old adage of nobody in my town will pay that, right? My answer to that is always to ask a question of, well, hold on a second. Does anybody in your town have a pair of shoes that have a Nike logo on them? Or do they have a designer handbag? Right? Because my point being, somebody in your town is willing to pay something for something they perceive as more value. Mm-hmm. Because for me, shoes are not valuable, right? Like in that state of, I need to spend $300 on a pair of Nike shoes. Now, Kylene can attest to this. Our son would spend every cent he has on a pair of Nike shoes if we let him.
Yep.
And he has made some investments in himself because that was important to him, right? But for me, like, I choke at spending $80 on a pair of shoes. I want something that's comfortable and that I feel good in, but I don't care what logo's on it, right? Mm-hmm. So there's a perceived value that we place on things. For me, I don't put a perceived value on that, but I will put a perceived value on something else. Like, I'll spend a lot of money on a toy, a direct-to-garment printer, this, that, or the other thing. Right. And that's worth it to me. Mm-hmm. We've got a car that I love, and it's because of the perceived value of that car. It's semi self-driving. It's got all the little cool toys and features, and I'm a techie nerd type like that. Right. So again, perceived value. So what my suggestion is, finally getting to the point here, is maybe what we should do as business owners is actually start on the other side of the equation and make sure I understand fully what me as the seller needs to be happy with this transaction. Mm-hmm. And so we do that by making sure we understand exactly what our costs are, how much our time is worth to us, kind of getting our arms around that a little bit more. And then once I have that, now I've got a guardrail to say, okay, Now I can start focusing on what my customer will be willing to pay for that. And if they're not, then I can start asking questions like, how can I change the perceived value? How can I find a different niche to go to or different market? One of the examples that I use is I can go to, I can go to Costco and get a case of water and paying about, $1.50 a piece for a bottle of water. Does that sound about right, Kylene?
Sure. We'll just go for it.
We're just going to go for it.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm thirsty and I happen to be at a convenience store, maybe that thing's going to cost me $4. And if I'm really thirsty and I'm at a airport, maybe that's going to cost me $10. And then if I'm really thirsty and I happen to be at a trade show where I'm delivering the seminar and that bottle costs me $11, I might pay that, right? So sometimes we just need to figure out where we're selling to, like find our worth, right? So there we go. It says that's where all my money goes, Aaron, on toys. I'm a crafter, all but a master at none. Well, you are a master of creativity and crafting and creating and so the toys, right? But let's just make sure that your business is paying for those toys, right? So Barb, good point here. DTF printers are maintenance time hogs. You have to be very proactive in maintenance, far more maintenance than my commercial embroidery machine. Awesome. Love it. Okay. So I think we covered a few different things. I'm seeing some more comments here. Kylene, anything else to add on that?
No, I mean, I think having those guardrails put in place and building, that into your business. So when you're ready to make that decision, your business is paying for it. It's not creating another level of pressure for you.
Okay. Love it. Love it. All right. I did want to hit a couple more comments here. Yep. Sure. Yeah. And this is awesome. This is where your creativity comes in, Lisa, is I look at DTF in multiple ways. I can do my own prints. However, I can sell them as well. Yeah. Yeah. You absolutely could. You could do anything. But the thing that I want you to think about and answer and help make your decision is that what you really want to do? Right. We've got a good friend of ours that is a DTF printer, and she still does some prints for other people, but she had bought a printer with that intention in mind. And we had an opportunity to work with her. I had an opportunity to work with her directly. She's part of our mastermind program. And we came to determine that while she could sell them to others, that's not what really drove her and who she was at her core, right? And so what she determined was that there was a different way to look at this. And so when that printer had problems, she had to get another printer. She ended up getting a printer that was smaller because it fit her needs better. And she stopped focusing on trying to sell prints to other people and started focusing on what was important to her. Now what's happening with her, Kylene?
Yeah, she's thriving. She's exceeding her goals. It's pretty awesome. I think it just shows like how important those guardrails are and understanding your reason. I know I keep coming back to that, but we can be attracted to the next trend and things. And I'm not saying, Lisa, this is what you are doing by any means, but it can happen. And then we go buy this next thing and then we don't really enjoy doing it. It's like the sewing machine you bought me. Yeah. I thought it'd be a good idea, but really at my core, it's not for me. Yeah. But yeah,
that's, I think you hit the, and so kind of what says here. So I do see the market 100%. Definitely not disagreeing with you in any way, shape, or form. And you could certainly build that market. And if that's what you want to do, and that's what makes you happy, and that's what makes you feel like you're thriving, then go all in by all means. I guess what we're trying to say is make sure that is true though, right? Because I don't want you to end up with another piece of equipment that just is like the next thing in the shipyard, right? Because unfortunately a DTF, like Barb was saying, it is pretty maintenance heavy. And once those print heads are clogged, the print heads are not cheap. And, I know a lot of people that have boat anchors that look like DTF and DTG machines, right? But their only purpose is to throw it to the bottom of a lake. you know, so again, not trying to dissuade you from any of this. Go all in, but just make sure that you know what's right for you. And there's different ways that you can do that. So, all right. Aha. Here you go. See, now you're getting to the core of it too. My issue is I have a full-time job and I only craft on the weekends. So my time is everything. I have to take consideration how can I be productive with the time that I have and still make right what she needs. So you may have just answered your question right there. The time to figure out how to do ETF, the time to actually do the printing yourself. Barb just shared that, yes, could she do it? Absolutely. Is it right for her? In those cases, not necessarily. Right. So those could answer some of the questions. Again, we're not trying to tell you exactly what to do here because you're the only one that's going to make the right decision. Yep. We just want to guide you and help you think about things differently. My mission and our mission here at our success group is to help you guys cultivate an uncommon mindset so that the proactive business owners, people like you guys that are here in the comments asking questions and participating in the conversation, you guys can set up the fundamentals that are right for you and be fulfilled because you're achieving your goals.
Yep.
Right. So, all right. This has been an awesome conversation, Kylene.
It has been.
You know what? Let's do this. Do you want to come back to this next week?
Most definitely. Yeah. There's some more things that we can really dive into with this, but yeah. We can definitely do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I do want to make sure that Listen and Barb are having a great conversation in the comments. So you guys keep that going and we'll let you guys keep going for a bit. And if we can connect you or whatever needs to, Listen, reach out to me and we can talk more too. But let's do this. I did want to share, speaking of passions and things that we love, I do want to share something that you guys might want to be aware of that Kylene is passionate about. So normally we'd kind of take a break in the middle, but if you guys wouldn't mind us just sharing this with you real quick here at the end, and then we'll come back and close it up if that sounds like a good plan. Kylene, does that work for you?
Let's do it. Yeah.
Okay, here we go. All right.
Yes.
Kylene, share some more about that, please.
Yeah. So if you guys are interested, I do half-hour classes Thursday morning, 6:30 Central Time in the morning. So they're just a half hour, comfort of your own home. It's great for existing yogis, but also if you're brand new, I walk you through each of the poses, and it just is a great way to center yourself for the day ahead. Strengthen your body, get some focus and clarity, and just start in that place of gratitude and strength as you move through your day. So I would love to share a class with you. They're free. It's just a donation-based class. So pay whatever you feel comfortable with. If times are tight and you can't pay, that's okay too. It all balances out in the long run. I'm just excited to share a tool with everyone that can really bring a lot of joy and harmony back to your life, because we have movement and we have that sense of calm that's happening again. That helps us respond to life when the day gets a little crazy. So it's a great way to start your day.
Yeah, absolutely. Kylene, real quick, what's the number one misconception people have about yoga?
Oh, we are not going to be bending like a pretzel and going into all these crazy moves. The thing about yoga is it's to quiet your mind. That's truly the goal for yoga, is to quiet your mind. So it's going to look different for all of us, and I will guide you through different variations of poses so it makes sense for you. For me, I just, all abilities can do yoga, and it just has so many amazing benefits for us.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Love it. Well, thank you for sharing that. And again, we, our success group, like to make sure that we are looking at a holistic picture of the business owners that we get to work with. And so that's why yoga is part of this. It's just all part of who we are as people. We don't just exist as our business. And then, Lisa, Kylene's got a full-time job as well, right? So we don't just exist as that part, or a mom or a husband, or, whatever that is. That's just part of who we are. And so we need to make sure that we're caring for all sides of that. All right. Well, Barb, thank you so much for sharing that. Great topic. Yes, it was. And what made it a great topic was you guys being actively engaged in the conversation. So what we're going to do is we're going to make the topic next week very similar, right? We'll kind of remind what the mindset things were and kind of talk a little bit more about that. But then we also want to take you guys through kind of the practical application of making action important to you. Right? Action beats inaction every time. And then tie that up with the wellness factor there, and just understand some ways that we can utilize that more as a holistic approach to our daily routines to, again, how do we keep this action going? Because that action is what's going to actually lead us to success. All the great information we have, all the toys we buy. And Lisa, I know I hear you. I feel it, but unfortunately it's not the toys that we buy. It's the actions that we take with those toys that leads us where we want to go. So anything else there, Kylene, before we close out here?
No, I'm looking forward to continuing next week. I think this was a great conversation. I appreciate you guys all being here and being a part of it. For sure. All right. Well, we would love to hear from everybody as well. And just, what's something that you might implement from today? What's your biggest takeaway? What we'd love to do is invite you guys over to join the Facebook group so we can keep this conversation rolling between our Saturday sessions here. So if I can find the link, there we go. osg.link/group. Make sure that you get over there, get in that conversation, and be part of it. Join us over there. And, let's keep this rolling talking about the equipment that we want to look at, or what's, how do we build a gang sheet? All of those things are pertinent and important. So osg.link/group is a perfect place to do that. You've got, we're a small but growing group, and we have a lot of people that understand that a rising tide lifts all boats. And I think that's what really makes it special, is that there's such depth of caring for each other that I don't always find in some of the other groups, where it's just, here's our latest thing, here's the approved designer. All that stuff's great. I love it. We got to find new stuff. But the intention of our group is to make sure that we really are getting to the core of what's going on, sharing uncommon mindsets, but still asking some of the practical questions too. So we never shy away from that, but you guys got to bring that stuff to the table. Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah. It's a great group. So I just want to leave you guys just remembering, one small change can make that big difference for you in your life. And if you enjoyed today's episode, just share it with other entrepreneurs, and then for sure join us over in that Facebook group if you're not already there. And we'll be back next Saturday too to continue this. All right. Yep. Next Saturday, continuing this. So until next time, you guys stay motivated, stay focused, and don't forget to celebrate each win. Kylene, what a great conversation today. Yeah, it was awesome. We believe in you guys, and stay positive. You got this. Find something to be grateful for in your life, and you're going to get there. We'll see you guys next week. Bye, everybody.
Dark days, overwhelmed, trapped in a maze. Small business owner, stress had me in a daze. Every problem piled up, couldn't catch a break. Thought I couldn't make it, my dreams were at stake. But then I found a group that changed my whole perspective. Our success group of a community so effective. We all chasing that dream, sharing struggles and fears. They understood my journey, wiped away my tears. Together we grow.